Hi, my name is Ali Hart, and you're very welcome. You're listening to How to Build a Creative Business in a Noisy World. And this is the start of a very exciting series for me. This is called the Hindsight series. And I will be finally getting around to chatting to people, different people about their experiences of 2020, of life in general, and again, inspiring you on how you can move forward in your creative business. So I thought, what better way to start than with the people that I know and love. One of whom is Sharon, who is my PA. Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
She joins me today, and this is the first time I've used Zoom to record video, because now what you'll be able to do is if you've only ever listened to my voice on podcast, you'll be able to see my scarecrow like hair on my Ali Hart YouTube as well. So Sharon is with me today, and we thought it's just a really good way to start, because some people prefer video, some people prefer audio, and it's going to be a really strong series with lots of people. So you're very welcome today, Sharon. Hi.
Thank you very much. Not
Would
nervous at
you?
all.
We were joking there because Sharon and I do at the minute, because of COVID. Yes, we're still in COVID. We do all of our meetings now via Zoom. So we both have to-do lists at the end. And I know that Sharon's very organized with piles of stuff all around her that she has organized and decided needs dealt with.
I did them all for today.
But we are not allowed to do that today. So Sharon, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about yourself. Give whatever title you want. Of course, it says on the screen, PA to Ali Hart, but you're much more than that. So
Well, so I'm Sharon, obviously. I'm married to Mark, have been for, a couple of years now. I have two teenage daughters, well, one almost teenage, which is Ali's daughter, Sophie, and Emma. And then I have my little baby, little Jacob, and mum to my little dog, Lima. Not little mum.
he's not little either. He's very big.
No. The baby nor the dog or the husband are little. The rest of us are all tiny. Yeah. So
Do you want to tell us a bit about your background then? There's obviously a gap between the girls and your wee man.
yeah. So I was married first time round in 2004 to the girl's daddy, and then had a gap of about 7 or 8 years.
You're a single mom.
Single mum for I think it was 7 years in total. And honestly, as much as it was hard, I can genuinely look back and say some of the best times of my life were as a single mum. You have a really, really great bond with the girls. That's not to say it was easy. And then I met Mark, and we had a whirlwind, and we got married very quickly, and we got pregnant very quickly.
Yeah.
And then we had Jacob.
Was he a honeymoon baby?
He was very much a honeymoon baby, yeah. Well, we actually honeymooned 2 weeks after our wedding, because we wanted to take the girls with us, and it was half-term break. So we actually found out we were pregnant on the honeymoon. So he's a wedding night baby.
Love
much
it.
to my girls' disgust.
Disgusting, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Mom.
So there's a big gap, but it's great. It's really good. It's like having extra mums in the house. He loves it.
Yeah, the girls are very hands-on, aren't they? They're great. They're good work ethic.
They're good. They're good, yeah.
And do you want to say that? So before you joined me well, the laugh is, so Sharon and I have known each other a really long time, since I was about 17, 16.
So definitely before wrinkles.
Before wrinkle, yeah, our foreheads are not it. But and even then, after your first marriage ended, we then I would have seen the girls a lot and you when you were on your own, and then but your job title wise, do you want it? So you could, yes. So basically, Sharon, I'm trying to say this is January 2021. Sharon only joined my team in, we think it was September. We're losing.
Yeah. We're losing all the dates, but September last year.
Speaking of whirlwind, it's maybe just how you fit best into roles, because it's been a whirlwind since you joined me. But before that, tell us a little bit about school. And your girls are really academic, I believe, which must come from like you.
Obviously.
Well, tell me a little bit about that, about school.
So yeah, I was a Wallace girl, which both the girls are.
Which is in Northern Ireland, is a school.
Yes.
Grammar school.
Sorry, Northern Ireland Grammar School, yes. So I left there in 5th year, did not stay to do A levels for personal reasons, and moved on to college, did 2 years there, went to university for 6 months in England and said, no, this is horrible. I miss my mum. I'm going home.
And what
So
were
that
you doing there? What were you doing at university or studying?
is actually doing psychology and criminology.
Wow.
But I 6 months into it, I had to come home. I was horrendous being away from my own family. I would say that's one of the biggest difference between you and I is that you're such a travel girl, and I'm like, I want to be at home. I need to be 10 minutes from my mum's house. And then I just fell into my first job in a stockbroker's.
Okay.
And after that, I started working for a local manufacturing company. Again, everything has to be 5 minutes from the front door. And I was there for 16 years until I had Jacob. And then the fit just wasn't right anymore. And through a random lunch with you, obviously, then you were like, so what about work? And I was like, I'm not really loving it. I really want to be at home with my baby. I think with age, I realized that I wanted to be at home even more with him. I didn't want to miss out because he's definitely my last.
Yeah.
And then you had said, come and work for me. And I was like, no, you live too far away. And you were like, we'll do it on Zoom. I was like, okay.
Well, I think that's what I believe whenever you're building your own business is that you have the the option, but also the decision. Like I think one of the conversations we had that Sunday lunch that you came over, which was totally random, Sunday roast dinner. I think what I was saying to you there was I really want to provide a space for women to be able to be flexible but successful in their own space, and for it not to feel too much. You're better than I would have been now about whenever he sleeps, you're happy to work, which I never really, but maybe that's just the difference in rule. I just felt like where do I start? Whereas you have a list to work from or whatever. But I do think that was a really cool conversation. I think both that I've spoken about my faith as well on the podcast before, but you also have faith. Do you want to tell us anything about that? Because we did that when we were on that day, we did feel like that was very much like
it was massively God given. Yeah. Well, basically, I had reached a point in my life, I think it was around 2011, 2012, where everything was an absolute, it was just horrible. I wasn't loving life at all. And a friend took me to church for a baptism of his friend. And I thought, are you joking me? Are you actually joking me? And I loved it. And I was like, this place is crazy. I fit in. And I did that for about a year. And then I did an alpha course, which I highly recommend. And I found Jesus, and it was brilliant. And I've always said this from the very start. The first time we met, I had thought you were a bit mental. I was like, girl, why is she alive? Oh my days. And then I think as usual with girls in a bar, we went to the bathroom together, and I don't even know how it came up. And it came to start past that you were Christian. And I was like, but she's really good fun. How does that work?
I don't even remember that conversation, and I'm sure I was driving. Those are the days that I didn't have drinks.
Yeah, and I think I might have been driving too. But I just remember saying, so I remember talking to my mum about it, who was a Christian, and saying, I met this girl, and she's Christian, it's really great fun. And mum was like, yes, that's possible. And that I genuinely believe that God put you in my path for that reason.
And even just being Sophie's goddaughter as well, and then the conversation. So, and then whenever you were in, so the role of what you do for me, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But for it seems, I joked about how Sharon is like one of the most organized people. And when Sharon would come to my house, even when the boys were tiny, I thought, geez, I better get this place tidy. Your role in the manufacturing company, and then in what was the one before the debt or
the stockbrokers?
Stockbrokers, sorry, not the what your role there? Like obviously you were happy in those roles, and they fitted you.
Yeah. So the first one in the stockbrokers in Belfast, it was great. And it gave me the basis of like my accounts knowledge.
Okay.
But I went in there completely unqualified. I didn't have any qualifications to do anything of such. So I went in as an admin role, and just I learn as I do stuff. I'm not really one that likes to sit and be like lectures.
Yeah.
And I got my basis there. Then when I got married the first time and had Emma, then that's when it changed. I was like, I need to be close to home.
Okay.
And I fell into the job, and it was again an admin role.
Okay.
But through it, we discovered that my organizing skills are quite
Useful.
useful. So I fell into the role of credit control for the whole company.
Great.
And yeah, it was brilliant because I love that.
Whereas I absolutely hate that. So
you don't like that. And that was the first thing when I started here. I was like, well, let's get this fixed first. But so I was credit controller for the company for years upon years. And then, but yeah, as I said, they were very good with me too. They were very flexible. I worked part-time.
Okay.
I made the decision when I had Emma that I was never going to work full-time again, even when they're old. I don't want to. Because I really feel it's important.
Yeah.
For me personally, that I was at home. I sent my kids to school and I collected my kids from school, and that for me was massively important. So I've been very fortunate in that company as well also accommodated my family life.
Yeah.
Which is my first priority.
Yeah, which is lovely to hear actually about favorite things, I guess, or the top list. And whenever I'm doing the mentoring, I talk about the dartboard and how in the middle, and then whatever you have around that first circle, and then every other circle around that can move, but what is the center will always remain. And then the rule you have from me, so you can bring it. Where do we start? Sharon's load is heavy. We're definitely, one of the things we spoke about in December was growing the team by maybe 2 more people, like just to take something off you a little bit, because I do have graphic design, and then there's the ads, and then there's marketing. Designing. So tell me just about you, where, like, when you sit down on a Monday, which you love, which you don't love, and you've taught me to love a bit more, what do you look at? Well, I think from the start, actually, you've been keeping a log of what the tasks are. So do you want to share some of those, some of your favorites, some of your least favorites?
So basically, whenever I look at the business as a whole, I try to look at what needs to happen for a year, say. And I'll have like long-term goals of things that need to happen and things that need to be changed and worked around. And then I'll also have what's achievable in the week and what we need to do to get through that week.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the speaking with the clients, speaking with customers, and liaison with those. I love that. That's a great part for me. And again, I suppose the organizing, and didn't realize that. Oh, there's me.
That's just, sorry, I can't.
Okay. Mimi. The reality of life, isn't it?
It is.
No, so and then obviously
sorry, you're saying about organizing, by the way, and I know that you're going to get your hands on my special edition database, which is every print that goes out has a number, and I've been working off that database for a few years now. I never think anything of it. I think it's not great, but it means when someone gets a print, we change the number. So I think the system works, and it's so funny because Sharon, within the space of a week, Sharon and then her eldest daughter Emma both were like, what is this? We're not even an alphabet.
Emma's very like me. Yeah. But then I hadn't realized, and this is where I found a lot of value, was that actually I appear to be quite good at marketing and having ideas. Who knew? And I honestly, I didn't ever think I had good ideas apart from what to make for a dinner on a Tuesday night. Other than that, I was like, oh, I do apparently have a bit of a creative side. I never would have called myself creative in any stretch of the imagination.
Well, I think it also comes from understanding the business, from the very beginning, or like I have a print for anybody that knows my website on here. You can go to figurative, and on there's a "Hey Mama" print, and it's a mum holding a baby, and that was Sharon texting me on a random day last year and saying, "Al, would you ever think about doing one of your ink drawings with?" So you've been in it a while.
That again, to go back to faith, that came from God. That was very much a dream that then I prayed about the next day and was like, what even is this? And all I remember thinking at the time was, I wish I could draw. Yeah. Because I know what I want on a page.
You still wish that, don't you?
I still wish I could draw.
If Sharon could draw, we would be, I tell you, people will be wanting us on their podcast now.
Horrendous. Definitely, I can be creative without a paintbrush in my hand, that's for sure. But so that again, and that again was one of the moments where I was like, actually, maybe I do have something to add.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And then in terms of your own dreams because we did that as well, a bit of like a dream board thing.
Where I want to know more.
You can come back to that if you want. But yeah, it's funny. So that just to give people a bit of an insight as well into the business. So we're doing the dream board, and it was just like we had quite a long meeting that day. It was our last meeting
It was our
before
last meeting,
December.
yeah.
And it was also
Yeah.
our last in-person one. And we're sitting like across the desk from each other. And I'm like, I wanna, basically I think I have it here somewhere. Whatever I want to achieve money wise, and I want to go here, and I want to do this, and and then I'm like, Sharon, what about you? What dreams do you have? And what was yours? I can't remember what the.
I just said I'd like to know a little bit more about how things are done. Like, I'd like to be a little bit more knowledgeable. And Ali was like, do a course. I was like,
No,
well, yeah, maybe that would be
not
nice.
even that. It was just like that is where I feel very privileged to have you, because I think if we both were like, we want the stars, we want the sky,
Yes,
that's where
it would work.
you're the practical one. And I think I even said that
Yes.
on
Yes,
Sunday. I was like,
yeah.
I'll do even Sunday past. I'll do a brainstorm for January, and then you'll tell me how practical it is.
You'll tell me how to work it. Yeah.
But in terms of other dreams, do you have? I just love to hear people's.
My dreams, honestly, and it's so cheesy, but I'm so content with where I am right now. That's not to say I don't have dreams, but I think at this stage in my life, I'm so content with my relationship with my kids, so content with my relationship with my husband, that I just think I don't really know that there's much. There's nothing massive. Like I have dreams like I would love a new kitchen put in. That's not realistic because I have a toddler, so it's not going to happen right now.
Yeah.
And I suppose for me, my biggest thing is at some point I know I want to sell this house and I want to live on a beach. Don't know where the beach is yet, but I have very simple dreams.
But that's great, and I think that's what I hope to do with the business. So I obviously dreams they're essential, but I think happiness, and that's what you and I were talking about, even the well-being side of last year of what I offered from the business and gave people a space, self-care. Like I do think I'm rooted in hoping people will be happy too. So that's lovely to hear from you. One of the things I talk about with people is how they deal with fear. Do you have any tips on that? That's just in general. So that might be whenever you were out with the girls on your own, or the thought of leaving your last job, or the kids growing up. How do you deal with fear, even outside of maybe prayer or whatever? But are there any practical things?
I think I've got much better at it with age.
Okay.
Because I've realized that the world doesn't stop spinning, even if those things do happen.
Yeah.
So I would say I tend to cry a lot if I'm scared. That's my first reaction, is to cry. I took the girls to Disney Paris once when they were, I think they were 3 and 4, and I did it by myself. Now I would barely go to Belfast by myself at this stage, and I took them to Disney Paris by myself. And I remember arriving at the airport and saying, well, this isn't going to work. I'm going to fly home again. So I was terrified, and I didn't speak the language, and I'd lost the buggy. And I missed the taxi to the hotel, and everything just to me that was honestly one of the most fearful moments of my life, that I was in a foreign country and I didn't know what to do. So I rang my mum, obviously, and she was like, just take a deep breath and just look around you and ask for help. And that has always stuck with me now, that when I am fearful, I will do the emotional part first. I always seem to do that bit first, like flight or fight, and I do that, and then I sit down and go, right, who can actually help me to do this? And sometimes I don't need help. Sometimes I just need to remind myself that I can do it myself. And other times I just find the person who can help me with it. Yeah. Which a lot of the times is going to be family or Mark or my pastor or a friend.
Well, interesting, that's what you'd said to me this week, because I am with the boys being home from school. Now in Northern Ireland we're in another lockdown, and the boys are off and not in school, so I was really not great on Tuesday, and just didn't know how I was going to juggle everything. And I think you'd said something similar to me. You were like, take the help,
whatever help you can get. That's my advice to people and stuff. And I suppose as well, with just having recently had Jacob, and after I had Jacob, I had horrendous postnatal anxiety. I'd never done anything like it. And it took a long time to realize that I needed help with that, and that I didn't have to do it by myself. And actually now I just feel like you need to take the help. I tell every new mum that, and take the help that's there.
And what about how do you what is your motivating factor? How do you motivate yourself? Like this is I think you're quite motivated anyway, but are there ever times, so especially in the creative business, well I
Mhm.
actually know what your answer is probably going to be with this. But anyway, in a creative
Tell
business,
me.
like, well, I think you're going to say just show up, which is what I do. We will do, but
Yeah,
for so like the likes of this month, January is a quiet month, like for
yeah.
pretty much anybody in retail, and
Hmm.
certainly with creatives, you can go like you're in a bit of a roller coaster, and you're always in a creative business, you're always the one who's thinking about innovation and how to execute and which is the best way
Hmm.
to go and what stats were like. But sometimes you just can be really demotivated and it takes maybe like a walk around the block or whatever. Are there anything that
Yeah.
you would, any advice you would give for how to motivate
I
yourself?
suppose for me, again, it comes back to parenting. I've always had to get up. I've always had to get up and start my day because I did 7 years with babies by myself.
Yeah.
So you can't stay in bed and you can't do nothing. Now, there were days I maybe just made it out of bed and sat on the sofa, but that was still getting up. In terms of a business and in terms of a work life,
Yeah.
um, it does just come down to just showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I think in previous jobs, because I was employed,
Yeah.
I never really had to think about it too much. I just got up and I went to work and I loved what I did.
Yeah.
So that really helped. I suppose for me, if you're going to do something and commit your life to it, make sure it's something that you really love and don't
Yeah.
even. I try to tell my girls this, so we're doing GCSE choices at the minute. And I'm like, let's not focus on what that career is going to earn you financially. Let's focus on what is going to make you really happy in your heart so that every day you go to work, you're like, great.
Yeah.
They'll not always be great, but
Well,
so
passion, isn't it? Something that's
it is. It's
passionate about.
something, and obviously, for me, this is different now because I'm self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching you build your business, and it's scary to know that it could just like that be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, then that's the motivation is to just keep pushing forward to know that you're building on something, and it's giving you value, and it's giving other people value, and looking at people's feedback from stuff like
I
workshops,
know.
actually, that motivates anyone. When
Yeah.
people send emails and messages and be like, I got lost in the moment. That was so good. I forgot that I could do that. It's great. That
Yeah,
that definitely
and
helps.
that's what's cool is like, so you can also see in the YouTube, if you're watching this in YouTube, you can scroll down and you'll see Sharon's daughters. Again, Sharon believing in the business from a very
Oh
long
yeah,
time ago.
I know.
But like I made those, my YouTube channel's been going a really long time. And I was saying to
So
Michael
long.
and to you the other day, like, I thought, dear love me, like I made those. I was
I
heavily
know.
pregnant. Nobody gave a toss about them. But I'm so glad I did that now
I'm so
because
glad you did them. They were
the
so
time I
fun. Yeah, yeah.
and then the other thing is, do you have any advice for people thinking about a creative business now that you're, as you're saying, self-employed, which is what essentially, so any of the
Mhm.
mentoring that I do, often at the minute, the way it stands is people are in a job
Yeah.
and they're thinking of like pushing forward with the creative
Mhm.
side, or they already have the two of them and they think I can't do both. So
Mhm.
not exactly the same, but whenever I was a photographer, I got to the stage where the photography was fruitful and brilliant
Yeah.
and consistent, but I had to literally pull the plug on that. Remember, I sold all my
I
equipment and
remember that.
everything,
I know. I know.
just so that I would be all in
Committed.
with the painting. But I went back to zero or to £50 or whatever, and
Mhm.
that's what Michael and I laugh about, like just doing the food shop every week. And you're probably the same whenever you were single parenting, like figuring out
Yeah.
the pennies. When you do look after the pennies, look after the pounds, not what they say.
Yeah. And it's
I'm
like,
so
mhm.
thankful for those,
Yeah.
non-branded
Experiences.
nappies that were as good
Yeah.
as the Pampers ones.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
it is amazing
Yeah.
how you learn, and I'm so thankful I did that. But do you have any advice for people thinking about it, like sort of erring on the side of caution, or throw caution to the wind, or in between, or just anything from having
Well,
joined in October?
yeah, I suppose it goes back to again for me it's a faith thing. So
Yeah.
I can fall back on that. Um, but prior to that, moving jobs, moving house, starting a family, getting in a relationship, any of those things, if you want to, it's just going to come down to commitment
Yeah.
and belief.
Brilliant.
And sometimes you just have to be really bold
Yeah.
and just step out and say, well, I'm just going to show up
Show up.
and
Yeah.
just be bold and just if it makes your heart happy, then I'm very much for it.
Mhm.
And I would be quite I remember a friend saying this to me years ago and I had to look up what it meant. like, "You're quite impetuous, aren't you, Sharon?" And I was like, "Am I? Okay."
That's a good word. What is it?
Google. It's just that you don't always think things through. It's just like in the spur of the moment you make a decision. She was referring to it.
It's probably me.
But I was like, yeah. And I'm not just as much anymore because there's more responsibilities in life.
Mhm.
But I still believe that if you have a piece about something, that then it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and I think that is why me looking at my how I view the business and what I want other
Mhm.
people to view of the business. You and I may be very different, but we definitely feel the same about
Yeah.
education and about lifestyle and about happiness and how
Yeah.
that is. It's a very, and especially now at the minute with COVID and exams being all over the place.
I
I
know.
understand. I understand people are going mad and doing whatever, but part of
Mhm.
me wants to say, I got one A star and I went to art college, came out with nothing. I had nothing, I was
Yeah.
waitressing two
Yeah.
times a week and babysitting
Yeah.
3 times a week. And I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. We
But
survived.
I understand that you need education. And I actually really, I want to go back and do a PhD. So it's funny. And
Yeah.
then you want to learn more. I suppose
And I
it's
want to learn more.
what choosing what you want, but you don't know that until you dabble.
Yes. So that again comes back to the conversation we're having at the minute that I'm like, so I went to a really good primary school
Hmm.
and I got the A star or whatever it was at the time in my 11 plus
Yeah.
time, given away my age. And then I went on to a grammar school and then I went on to university, which obviously I did drop out of. But
Mhm.
I have pointed out the fact that I don't believe that anything I learned in the classroom has got me to where I am now.
Yeah.
That's not to say education doesn't have a place, just to say that education isn't always restricted to four walls,
Yeah.
and it's not always going to look like your next door neighbor's education, and it's not always going to look like your best friend's education, but you learn so much as you go through life, and
Yeah.
experience is where a lot of it comes from.
And
And if you
trying
want to
to
be a
tell them not
doctor,
to
to be a
worry,
university.
yes, and
Yeah, it's not going to
exactly.
change
And you were
anything.
saying about the girl, you were saying about the girls being academic and they are very good and committed. My
Yeah.
boys are very different. And I heard them chatting yesterday, and one was like, I hate maths, and another said, oh, I hate English. And they're so different. But yeah, trying to tell them when they fail things or they don't get good mark. We have one now in grammar school, in
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
school, and he, if it doesn't get an A or whatever, I'm like, it's okay. You still, your
Mhm.
effort is A. They're showing that you're.
Yeah.
Um,
Because you had got me to look at his school report recently. Was like, does that look okay? And I was like, brilliant. It's brilliant. I hadn't even looked at the exam results. I'd looked at his effort. I was like, they're amazing. Because as long as you're putting the effort in,
I know.
I'm never bothered by the end result. Because if
Yeah.
you're putting the effort in, you're doing the best. And that's always my view on it.
And it's kind of a means to an end, but you don't get that when you're in school. I suppose it's your biggest thing,
No,
isn't it? It's your big.
no. Imagine if you could have a conversation with 16-year-old Ali,
I
the
know.
things you tell her.
Well, I know actually. I wonder. I
Mm.
had I actually really enjoyed school, but I had very bad memory. Like you were saying about that us chatting, my memory is shocking. I don't really remember.
I don't remember huge amounts. I remember parts of it. I don't
Yeah.
remember anything. Oh,
No. Maybe
I
we did, yeah, we liked it, but it was just well, it's just
yeah.
banter, wasn't it, with your
It was
friends?
it was a day out.
It was. And are you reading anything at the minute? I was going to ask this to everybody. Are you reading any book apart from the
So
Bible, start to finish or something you're going to say? You are, aren't you?
um, but hold on, I have I've got a book sitting behind me, but also Bible. I'm reading a book by Dr. John Andrews called Love.
Okay.
It is biblically based though. Sorry.
Oh, that's all
Uh,
right. That's good. You're
have
the one
I
holding up the spiritual side of the business.
I did get a book for Christmas. I think it's still a shower.
That's all right.
So
Even with all your baths, Sharon has like 2 hour baths. Even with those baths, do you not just sit and read
no,
there?
I watched The Crown.
Oh, very good. Oh, I never thought of
I
bringing the
watched
iPad. I'm new to baths, everybody. Sharon's looking at me
uh
through. She's like, what?
I
You
love
don't.
them.
But
But you know what? It's only very recently that I got a bath board and it has
yeah.
changed my life. So I put a candle at either and Jacob got a duck. Sophie got Jacob for Secret Santa. Bought him a
Yeah.
duck for Christmas, which is the perfect shape to hold the phone.
Brilliant.
And I watched The Crown and nobody's allowed to talk to me.
Isn't that funny? Because I was gifted a bath board. It must be nearly 2 years ago now, and I genuinely asked my friend Avril, "Would you
What do
like
you
it?"
do with
Because
it?
she loves baths. And
What's
then
that?
Michael was like, "I love a bath. Keep it for me." So the bath board, and even now I used it this week. I did
Yeah, yeah,
this week.
yeah.
Brilliant. Have you any other inputs now on what COVID, how you feeling of the year 2020? In terms of my business, it's obviously been frighteningly great, which was
Yeah,
strange, but
yeah,
I
it was
am now feeling
brilliant.
it in terms of exhaustion. So
Yeah.
do you, but how was your 2020, and how are you feeling about 2021? Whatever angle you want to go at.
2020, whenever I have like watched stuff happening online, everyone is up in arms and complaining, and 2020 is an awful year, and da da da. And for me, I can genuinely say 2020 was one of the best years of my life.
Yeah.
So not everyone is in that boat, and people have lost people, and I completely understand that. And I know that it hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
My scariest moment of 2020, believe it or not, was when you got COVID, because it was so real then. And I've seen the effects it had on you, and I've seen the effects that it had on the business. It was
Yeah.
amazing how quickly it affected the business. But no, 2020 for me was great, because I was very blessed in that the girls are very academic and very content to do their own work. So I didn't have to homeschool anyone. I wouldn't envy anyone in that situation.
But then you did have a child. Is he
So I
only one
had,
yet, is he? He's only one.
he's 18 months now. So I had, at the start of lockdown, Jacob would have been 9 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
So I had the girls at home the whole time with their brother, and they experienced all his firsts. They were there when he did steps, falling, when he started, babbling and recognizing people and eating and all of those things. So for me, it was an amazing experience. We are definitely closer and tighter because of it. The girls learned a lot more about how a house works,
Yeah.
in terms of how much I actually do,
Yeah.
because they've seen it, 'cause they were there all the time. And I guess for us, we became a bit more reliant on each other for company. That's all we had.
Yeah.
So no, 2020 for me was great. 2021, I would say I'm going into it definitely optimistic and hopeful for the year. Um, just don't know how 2021 is going to work.
Well,
People
it
are really
feels like,
shocked.
yeah, and also I think the government, like all the changes in terms of what we can literally every day, it feels something's
Yeah.
different.
So Sophie came in and said something there. Mum, there's a further lockdown until March, and I was like, what? Just
Yeah.
check your emails. I was like, you check my emails. I don't care. So she checked it, and then she was like, no, it doesn't say anything. And I went, listen, let's just wait, because we're not even in February, so let's just do January.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's always been my approach. It's the next step. In fact, you said it to me once when I was really struggling after having Jacob.
Oh, one nappy, one feed.
You were like, it's one nappy to the next, one feed to the next, one nap to the next, and that's just how. And I had always had that approach, but sometimes you just need reminded,
don't you? Yeah, you just need to be told. I know.
You lose yourself in the moment of exhaustion and emotion, and that's my other thing. Emotions aren't real. Emotions are not facts.
Yeah.
So I
Very
don't
good.
try to base big decisions or anything like that on emotions. It's what is actually factual.
Yeah. And just now, when you're wrapping up, did someone make that lovely wee print there behind you in that painting?
Like
yeah.
that? I was gifted that. I was gifted that while we processed orders, and I think you had dirtied the back of the print. And I said, send it anyway, it'll be in a frame. And you went, no.
No, but you can have it. That's me.
Yeah.
I just throw things out. I know.
I know. So yes, thanks for that. There's
Very
also
good product placement.
If anyone's interested.
There, she's doing her job now. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for starting my interviews. That's been a lovely start. I'm actually really excited now about interviewing people. But now do you get it now too? It's going to be, because Sharon's going to be the one doing all the editing and uploading.
See, it's all learning. You can learn in your 40s, everyone.
Well, I just want to say that is so true about you. So I could talk to Sharon about how to do something, but she sits beside me once and sees it once, and it's really, for me, it's really exciting to see. You don't need to
that is how I learn.
Yeah,
that is how I learn. If you show me something, I'll look at you and go, I have to do what on GarageBand? But if you show me it once, then I'll be like, that's fine.
And then last night, Adele, who I should probably actually interview as well, who helps with the business too. Definitely. We were out on our walk, because you're allowed to walk with one other person.
Yeah.
And last night, and she said something about, I unsubscribed from all my, the clothing companies, because Sharon and Adele and I are doing this thing where we're not going to buy any clothes for the foreseeable. We're hoping
for the year.
Well, if we get a holiday, we're allowed.
We're allowed to buy a bikini,
or else share clothes. But Adele also giggled because she knows I don't have very many clothes. She was like, Ali, I'll lend you some. But when I was saying to her when she said about this about unsubscribing, and I said, oh, I don't even like all those things go into my promotions folder. She went, what's that? And she loves organization. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Sharon organized my emails, so I don't even see those. She's like, how do you do that? So yeah, you obviously learned how to do that. And
Yeah.
when I can't find something, I'm like, Sharon, where's that? And she's like, oh, it's in the folder that's titled that, Ali.
A
So
lot of folders. Yeah.
brilliant. Well, thank you. Yeah, have a great day. The rest of your
Yes, you
day.
too.
Thank you for
You
sharing and
too.
for being part of my business
Love it.
and for being on the podcast. It means a lot.
Very welcome.
It's a great
Very
start.
welcome. Right.
Okay. Bye. I'll just
Bye.
finish off by saying if you want to subscribe, that would be great. And you can also leave a little review, which helps me, helps my ranking, let's be honest. And it means that anybody who's wanting to build a creative business in a noisy world, they'll get the best help, care of myself, and now of my PA. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on and listening. I'll see you on the other side.